Search Inside Yourself, The Unexpected Path to Achieving Success, Happiness, and World Peace by Chade-Meng Tan. So what does the happiest man in the world actually look like? Maybe you're picturing someone lounging on a yacht, or accepting an award, or perhaps someone who's just crushing every single goal on their bucket list. But here's the twist. If you'd wandered into a neuroscience lab a while back, you would have found him sitting perfectly still in a chair, wires attached to his head, looking remarkably ordinary. He's a bald French guy wearing Tibetan robes. Meet Mathieu Ricard. Now, Mathieu wasn't always hanging out in monasteries. This man had serious credentials, a PhD in molecular genetics from France's prestigious Pasteur Institute. He was on track for a brilliant scientific career. But then, in 1972, he did something that made everyone think he'd lost his mind. He walked away from it all to study Tibetan Buddhism in the Himalayas. Fast forward a few decades, the Dalai Lama started encouraging monks to participate in scientific studies on meditation, and Mathieu was the perfect candidate. He spoke both languages, the precise, numbers-driven world of science and the contemplative world of ancient wisdom. So scientists hooked him up to their fancy equipment and started measuring his happiness. And yes, you really can measure happiness by tracking electrical activity in different parts of the brain, specifically comparing the left prefrontal cortex, where positive vibes like joy hang out, with the right side, where the gloomier stuff lives. Researchers can actually get a reliable happiness reading. Most people register somewhere in the middle of a predictable range, but when they scanned Mathieu's brain, the scientists literally couldn't believe what they were seeing. His results didn't just break the curve, they shattered it. By an absolutely massive margin, he was the happiest person science had ever documented. The media had a field day and dubbed him the happiest man in the world. But here's the really juicy part. This extraordinary happiness wasn't some genetic lottery win or random stroke of luck. It was trained. Years and years of mental training had actually rewired his brain for joy. And that's the game-changing secret we're diving into today with Search Inside Yourself, written by Google's own Chade-Meng Tan. Meng, as everyone calls him, was employee number 107 at Google. Not too shabby, right? Surrounded by some of the smartest people on the planet, he noticed something fascinating. Brilliant minds in corner offices didn't automatically equal happiness. He watched genuinely genius-level people struggling with stress, messy relationships, and zero inner peace. So he had this wild idea. What if he could engineer happiness? What if he could create an actual curriculum, backed by real science, that could teach even the most skeptical, show-me-the-data engineers how to develop emotional intelligence? The result was a course that became absolutely legendary inside Google, called Search Inside Yourself. It mixed ancient mindfulness techniques with cutting-edge neuroscience, and it was so powerful that it genuinely transformed lives. People became better leaders, more creative problem solvers, and just plain happier humans. Today, we're unpacking the secrets of that very course. By the time we're done, you'll have a straightforward three-step framework for training your own mind. You'll learn how to calm your thoughts on command, see your emotions with laser clarity, and develop this deep, rock-solid self-confidence. This isn't just about feeling warm and fuzzy inside. It's about becoming sharper, more resilient, and better connected to the people around you. It's about mastering the single most important skill you'll ever develop: understanding and directing your own inner world. So get comfortable, maybe grab a cup of coffee, and let's start this journey. Let's learn how to search inside ourselves. Our adventure kicks off with a simple but mind-bending question. What exactly is emotional intelligence? Most of us think of intelligence as something carved in stone, like your IQ score. But pioneers in this field, people like Daniel Goleman, discovered something revolutionary. Your ability to understand and manage emotions, both yours and everyone else's, isn't fixed at all. It's a skill. And just like learning to play guitar or speak Spanish, it can be learned, practiced, and absolutely mastered. Meng, with his engineer's brain, looked at this and thought, this isn't some fuzzy self-help concept. This is a system that can be broken down and optimized. He identified that emotional intelligence rests on 5 core foundations: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. But just knowing these exist doesn't help much, right? The real question is, how do you actually build them? For a place like Google, packed with skeptics who worship at the altar of data, the answer couldn't be some vague philosophy. It had to be practical, scientific, and provable. This is where Meng had his lightning bolt moment. He realized that all 5 of these skills grow from one single seed: training your attention. Think about it for a second. You can't manage an emotion if you don't even realize you're feeling it. You can't empathize with someone if your mind is scrolling through tomorrow's to-do list. Attention is literally the doorway to everything else. So the entire Search Inside Yourself program follows a beautifully simple 3-step path. Step 1. Train your attention. Step 2. Use that trained attention to understand yourself. Step 3. Use that self-knowledge to create new mental habits. It's elegant, it's logical, and it all starts with something that's been around for thousands of years but that science is only recently catching up to: mindfulness meditation. Now, before you roll your eyes at the word meditation, hear me out. You might be picturing someone sitting cross-legged for hours, trying desperately to empty their mind of all thought. But Meng, in his wonderfully no-nonsense way, strips away all the mystique. Meditation, he says, is just mental exercise. It's a gym session for your brain. Picture this. You've got a jar of water filled with sand. Shake it up, and everything becomes cloudy and chaotic. You can't see through it at all. That's our minds most of the time, swirling with thoughts, worries, plans, regrets, you name it. We can't see anything clearly through all that noise. But what happens when you simply set the jar down and leave it alone? The sand slowly drifts to the bottom. The water becomes perfectly calm and clear. That's mindfulness. It's not about forcing your thoughts to vanish. It's about creating the conditions for them to naturally settle. The actual practice is almost embarrassingly simple. Meng calls it the 2-minute mindfulness exercise, and you could literally do it right this second. Just sit however feels comfortable, and for 2 minutes, bring a gentle, steady attention to your breath. Feel the sensation of air moving through your nostrils, filling your lungs, the subtle rise and fall of your belly. That's genuinely it. Now, here's what'll happen almost immediately. Your mind will wander. You'll start thinking about that awkward email you need to send, or that weird thing your friend said last week, or what you're having for dinner. And here's the thing. This isn't failure. This is literally the entire point. The moment you notice your attention has drifted, and you gently, without beating yourself up about it, bring it back to the breath, you've just done a representative. You've just done a push-up for your brain. That simple act of noticing and returning is the core of the whole practice. Every single time you do it, you're strengthening 2 crucial mental muscles. First is attention itself. Second, and even more valuable, is what scientists call meta-attention, which is basically your awareness of where your focus is. By practicing this simple act of returning to the breath over and over, you develop a mind that's simultaneously relaxed and alert. The turbulence calms down. The sand settles, and this profound clarity starts to emerge. This calm, clear state is the foundation for absolutely everything that follows. It's the solid bedrock on which you build all of emotional intelligence. Once you've started training your attention, you move to step 2, using that newfound clarity to achieve real self-knowledge and self-mastery. This is where you turn that powerful, focused attention inward, and the first place you look, your own body. Meng explains something fascinating. Every emotion we experience isn't just happening in our heads. It's a full-body event. Anger has a physical signature, maybe tightness in your chest, or your jaw clenching. Joy feels completely different, perhaps lightness, or warmth spreading through you. Anxiety might show up as a knot in your stomach. Our bodies are constantly broadcasting data about our emotional state. The problem is, we're usually way too distracted to tune in and listen. The practice Meng introduces here is called the body scan. It's wonderfully straightforward. You lie down or sit comfortably, and you systematically move your attention through your body, from your toes all the way up to the crown of your head. You're not trying to fix anything or change anything. You're just noticing. What sensations are present? Warmth, tingling, tension, or maybe nothing at all? By doing this regularly, you start perceiving your emotional processes with what Meng, the engineer, calls higher resolution. Instead of just being angry, you begin to catch the very first spark of that emotion as a physical sensation. You might notice a subtle tightening in your stomach, a split second before your mind even labels the feeling as irritation. This is genuinely a superpower. Viktor Frankl, the famous psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust, once wrote something profound. Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Mindfulness of the body creates exactly that space. When someone cuts you off in traffic, the stimulus is instant. The automatic reaction might be a surge of rage, a honked horn, maybe some choice words. But with a mind trained in self-awareness, you can actually perceive that initial rush of heat in your chest as it's happening. And in that moment, in that tiny gap between the feeling and the reaction, you suddenly have a choice. You can let autopilot take the wheel, or you can choose something different. You can breathe. You can let it go. This ability to pause before reacting is where self-mastery begins. And it leads to one of the most freeing insights in the entire book. You are not your emotions. We have this habit of identifying completely with our feelings. We say, I am angry, or I am sad, as if that emotion defines our entire existence. But through mindfulness, you start seeing emotions for what they really are, temporary events. They're like clouds drifting through the vast, open sky of your awareness. The sky isn't the cloud, and you aren't your anger. When you see anger as simply a physiological experience, a pattern of sensations happening in your body, it loses its grip on you. It's no longer this existential crisis. It's just information. You can observe it, learn from it, and decide how you want to respond, rather than being hijacked by it. This is the shift from being controlled by your emotions to choosing how you respond to them. It's the difference between being thrown by a wild horse and learning to guide it with gentle hands. One of the most practical tools Meng offers for dealing with difficult emotions is a 5-step process. He calls it the Siberian North Railroad, which is actually a clever memory trick for stop, breathe, notice, reflect, and respond. Picture this. Your boss makes a comment that feels like criticism. You feel that instant flash of defensiveness rising. Stop, just for one heartbeat, freeze. Don't react. This is the sacred pause. Breathe. Take one conscious deep breath. This simple act activates your body's relaxation response and reinforces that pause. Notice. Turn your attention inward. What does this actually feel like in your body? Tightness in your throat? Racing heart? Just observe the physical sensations without judging them. See it as a body thing, not an identity crisis. Reflect. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? Is there some history behind this feeling? What might the other person's perspective be? Remember, everyone's just trying to be happy, even if they're going about it clumsily. Respond. Now, from this calmer, clearer place, choose your response. Instead of snapping back, maybe you ask a clarifying question, or simply share how the comment affected you. This 5-step process, which can happen in just seconds once you practice it, is the art of riding your emotions instead of being trampled by them. This journey into self-awareness also leads somewhere surprising, a totally natural, organic form of self-confidence. This isn't the loud, chest-pounding bravado we often mistake for real confidence. True self-confidence, Meng argues, comes from deep self-knowledge. It comes from being so honest with yourself about both your strengths and your weaknesses that you've got nothing left to hide. You become genuinely comfortable in your own skin. When you know your own failure modes and how you recover from them, when you understand exactly what triggers you and how you can guide yourself back to balance, you develop this quiet trust in yourself. You know you can handle whatever life throws at you because you've explored your own inner landscape. You're not scared of your own monsters anymore because you've learned to make friends with them. This brings us to the third and final step of the framework: creating useful mental habits. Once you've got a calm, clear mind and a deep understanding of your inner world, you can start intentionally cultivating the qualities you want to embody. This is where the inward journey turns outward into the territory of empathy and compassion. Meng explains that empathy isn't some magical gift you're either born with or not. It's a skill that uses the same brain wiring as self-awareness. When we empathize with someone, our brains literally start mirroring their physiological state. Daniel Goleman calls this an emotional tango. Our brains are genuinely designed to dance with each other. So if you want to become more empathetic, the first step is continuing to strengthen your own self-awareness. By getting better at reading your body's signals, you automatically get better at picking up signals from others. But you can also train empathy directly by creating mental habits. The Buddha said something fascinating: whatever one frequently thinks and ponders upon, that will become the inclination of his mind. In modern neuroscience terms, what we think, we become. Neurons that fire together, wire together. If you want to be a more compassionate person, you can literally train your brain to default to kindness. The practice Meng teaches is called just like me. It's ridiculously simple but surprisingly powerful. You can do it with anyone: a coworker, a stranger on the subway, or even someone you're having conflict with. You look at the person and silently say to yourself, "This person has a body and a mind, just like me. This person has feelings, emotions, and thoughts, just like me. This person has, at some point, been sad, disappointed, or hurt, just like me. This person wishes to be happy, just like me." By repeating this, you're actively training your brain to spot similarity instead of difference. You're shifting your perception from other to us. This simple mental shift is where empathy takes root. You can build on this with something called loving-kindness meditation. You bring someone to mind and generate genuine wishes for their well-being. I wish for this person to be free from suffering. I wish for this person to be happy. What's genuinely amazing about this practice is that the person who benefits most is actually you. The act of generating kindness is itself a deeply joyful and calming experience. Science has shown that doing acts of kindness is one of the most reliable ways to boost your own happiness. Kindness, it turns out, isn't a sacrifice at all. It's a source of sustainable joy. When you combine all these practices, a calm and clear mind, deep self-knowledge, and cultivated habits of empathy and compassion, you don't just become a happier person. You become a more effective one. You become a better leader. The most effective leaders, research shows, aren't the most ruthless. They're the most likable. They're the ones who create genuine trust. And trust is built on a foundation of empathy. When people feel truly seen, heard, and understood by you, they'll move mountains for you. You become a better communicator. You learn to listen not just for the words people say, but for the feelings underneath. You understand that in any difficult conversation, there are really three conversations happening: the what happened conversation, the feelings conversation, and the identity conversation. What does this say about me? By skillfully navigating all three, you can transform conflict into collaboration. Finally, all of this inner work leads to the domain of motivation. True, lasting motivation doesn't come from external rewards like paychecks or praise. It comes from within. It springs from three sources: autonomy, the desire to direct our own lives; mastery, the urge to get better at things that matter; and purpose, the yearning to do what we do in service of something bigger than ourselves. The practices of search inside yourself give you the clarity to discover your purpose. One of the most powerful exercises in the book is called Discovering Your Ideal Future. You imagine your life 5 years from now, where everything has gone as well as you could possibly hope. You write about it in vivid detail, as if it's already happened. This isn't just daydreaming, it's a way of connecting with your deepest values and aspirations. It gives you a North Star to guide your daily choices. The story of Roz Savage is a perfect example of this power. She was a management consultant living a comfortable but soul-crushing life. She did an exercise where she wrote 2 versions of her own obituary, one based on her current path, and one based on the life she dreamed of living. The first version drained her energy. The second filled her with so much excitement she didn't want to stop writing. That single exercise gave her the courage to leave her old life behind and become the first woman to row solo across 3 oceans. When you align your daily actions with a purpose that genuinely matters to you, work stops feeling like drudgery. It becomes an expression of who you are. And this brings us full circle to Meng's audacious dream, world peace. It might sound naive at first, but his logic is beautifully simple. World peace begins with inner peace. When individuals are at peace with themselves, they naturally become more compassionate toward others. And a world filled with compassionate people is fundamentally a more peaceful world. The journey he maps out in Search Inside Yourself is a practical, step-by-step roadmap for that inner transformation. It's not about becoming someone else entirely. It's about uncovering the calm, clarity, and compassion that are already within you. It's about learning to search inside yourself and discovering the profound treasures that have been quietly waiting there all along. What I find so beautifully revolutionary about Search Inside Yourself is its quiet power. It takes concepts that have been wrapped in mysticism for centuries, mindfulness, compassion, inner peace, and translates them into a language that's modern, scientific, and incredibly accessible. Chade-Meng Tan's genius is in his ability to be a bridge. He's an engineer who speaks fluent data and efficiency, but he's also someone of deep wisdom who genuinely understands the human heart. He shows us these 2 worlds aren't at odds. They actually enrich each other. The rigor of science validates insights from ancient traditions, and the wisdom of those traditions gives our modern lives a depth and meaning that technology alone never could. The most powerful lesson in this book for me is the idea that happiness and compassion aren't destinations we arrive at, they're skills we cultivate. They're the natural result of consistent mental training. This is incredibly empowering. It means our well-being isn't at the mercy of external circumstances. It's something we can actively shape and develop, just like we'd train a muscle at the gym. And Meng makes the entry point so ridiculously accessible, it's almost impossible to refuse. He doesn't ask you to overhaul your entire life or disappear to a monastery. He asks for just 1 mindful breath a day. That's it, 1 breath. Because he understands that small, consistent actions, repeated over time, create profound transformation. This book isn't just a manual for personal success or happiness. It's a blueprint for a better world. Meng's ultimate vision is that if enough of us undertake this inner work, we can collectively shift the baseline of human consciousness toward greater kindness and understanding. It's a bold vision, but it's rooted in a simple, undeniable truth. Every great change in the world starts with a change within an individual. So if you're looking for a place to start your own journey of inner exploration, here are a few simple actions you can take today, inspired by this book's wisdom. First, try the 1 breath a day practice. Just once today, pause and take a single, conscious breath. Feel the air come in, feel it go out. That's your meditation for the day. You fulfilled your commitment. Anything more is a bonus. This simple act builds momentum and cultivates self-kindness. Second, in your next conversation, practice mindful listening. Pick 1 person you talk with today and give them the most valuable gift you have, your complete, undivided attention. Don't plan what you'll say next. Just listen. Listen to truly understand. See what happens to the quality of that connection. Third, look for goodness. Just once today, intentionally notice an act of kindness or goodness. whether in yourself or someone else. It could be someone holding a door, or a moment of patience you offer yourself. Acknowledging goodness trains your mind to spot it more often, and that's the fertile soil where compassion grows. Search Inside Yourself is more than a book. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to explore the most fascinating, complex, and rewarding territory you'll ever encounter, your own mind. And it offers the hopeful promise that by taking this inner journey, you won't just find success and happiness, you'll also become a genuine force for good in the world. That was our deep dive into Search Inside Yourself by Chade-Meng Tan. We've explored the main trails today, but a summary is like looking at a map of a beautiful national park. It can show you the paths and the landmarks, but it can't replace the feeling of actually walking through the forest, hearing the birds, and breathing the fresh air for yourself. The real value comes from the personal journey. This summary is your map to help you decide if this is a park you want to explore. If anything we've talked about today has sparked your curiosity, I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about gathering information. It's an experience, one that might genuinely change how you see yourself and the world around you. You can find a link to the book in the description below. And if you found this journey valuable, please show your support by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book from the Billionaire's Bookshelf. Let's keep searching, and let's keep growing, together.